And it's Gloria again. Just wanted to discuss the last section of our book, In the Power of Habit. And I would just really actually thought this section was the most interesting and the most influential as far as what I'm going to probably take away from my nurse practitioner role. Not that the individual habit formation and habit change wasn't very interesting, but I think from a community aspect, especially with the community project we're doing, it's really important to understand how to be influential in the community and what your responsibility is as a nurse practitioner. And so what I got out of the reading was that in communities, it can take just one person of influence, as we saw with the Rosa Parks story, someone who stood up for what she believed in and wanted to make positive changes. And maybe she didn't realize that sitting on the bus that day would actually create this ripple effect, which I'm thinking probably not. But it did, and she owned it, and she agreed to be a part of this movement, and she was so embedded in the culture and the community, not only of African Americans, but also of Caucasians, and was a very respected member of that community, and therefore very influential, and held a lot of power within the social constructs of like peer pressure. Which I always think of peer pressure as being seen as kind of a negative thing and negative wording, but in her case, her influence, her peer pressure created obviously a lot of social change and created a lot of support and helped lead, Martin Luther King to help do his work and create the culture and community we have today. So. Just really interesting how just one person can do it, but then we also saw with Pastor Warren how he got together groups of people who maybe were were connected through the community and maybe culturally similar as well, but actually got them into smaller groups within his church setting in the community, and then helped create social change, community change that way in his church, because he created these small groups that then were influential for the larger community when they all came together and started working together instead of people within the church kind of sparring and going back and forth over particular issues. So I thought that was really interesting. So there's really two ways that community creates habits for themselves and also creates change. And then I thought that the whole idea of willpower was so interesting as well. Just because you do have this aspect of free will, you do have this aspect of choice in everything that happens. And so in Rosa Parks' situation, she had the choice to not give up her seat, and she didn't. And she had the willpower to withstand all of the treatment she received after that. And similarly, Martin Luther King made the choice to, instead of organizing his community in a way that would react with violence and anger, he created what they referenced as an embrace, which I thought was such a beautiful way to, just describe his work, because I cannot imagine what all of them are going through at that time, and I just feel so blessed to not have to be a part of that, but to benefit greatly from their experience. So he creates this community that basically is a very Christian-based community, and love the sinner and hate the sin and kind of aspect, and love everyone and just embrace them in their hate. So I thought that was really interesting. But as far as from a nurse practitioner standpoint, I think that therefore it's really important to realize how just one person can create change, but that one person needs to be influential in their community. So as I'm getting my community project together, I'm seeing over and over these studies where nurse practitioners are most successful in creating education pieces for the community and creating change when they are embedded in the community, when they involve like nursing students in a local community college, and use community resources, church groups and church gatherings and things like that, but also community-based centers and like YMCAs, things like that. So I hope to be able to use that in my community-based project, but also as I become a nurse practitioner in the field, I hope that I never forget how important it is to be an active member of your community in which you're trying to create and promote some change. So thanks so much.